Well, hello, I'm Andrew. Today I'm going to be talking to you about a proof of concept that we set up to share statements between three different LRSs: Watershed, Learning Locker, and Wax. Now, there are a number of different reasons why you might want to share statements between learning record stores, and there are a number of different ways in which you can share statements. But we don't have time to talk about those on this particular video. Instead, I'm just going to look at one particular proof of concept that we set up to illustrate the process. In this case, we used Moodle LMS to launch an e-learning course, in this case the golf example, and that e-learning course was set up to send statements to Learning Locker. Those statements were then pulled from Learning Locker into Watershed LRS, and then Moodle queries Watershed for the statements and displays those to the learner. At the same time, we're using a bookmarklet where the learner can use to track informal learning websites that they visit. That's tracked to Wax LRS, and again the statements are pulled from Wax into Watershed, and they're displayed on Moodle as well. But in this case, we've set up a two-way link between these two LRSs, so any statements in Watershed are also sent to Wax, which means that statements from the golf course go into Learning Locker, into Watershed, and then on into Wax. So statements about the golf course are in all three LRSs, whereas statements from the bookmarklet only appear in Wax and Watershed. We haven't configured a link between Watershed and Learning Locker in that direction. So let's have a look at it in action. So here we can see Moodle, and we've got the stream of statements on the right-hand side coming from Watershed, and we can launch our e-learning course to be tracked in Learning Locker. Let's have a go. We've got bookmarking data stored in Learning Locker, so we can continue where we previously left off. And we'll move on, and we go onto the scoring page. So we can remember to look out for statements about scoring in the three different LRSs. Let's save and exit. Yes, I'm sure. And now return to the course. And you can see, despite the fact we sent the statements to Learning Locker, and this is pulling statements from Watershed, we still see that statement about scoring appearing here. And that also appears in the three different learning record stores. So we refresh Learning Locker, see there's the statement there. In Watershed, there's the statement there. And in Wax, the statement is here. So that's the golf example. Let's have a look at using page on Wikipedia. Again, golf. And we're going to use the bookmarklet to report that we visited this particular page. So we'll send that statement. This sends the statement to Wax LRS. So here's the statement in Wax. Now, it should also be in Watershed. Let's have a look. There it is in Watershed. Let's have a look at Learning Locker. Notice the statement isn't in Learning Locker because we haven't configured Watershed to send statements out into Learning Locker. We deliberately made that a one-way sync to illustrate the process. Now if we go back to Moodle, remember Moodle is pulling the statements from Watershed, not Learning Locker. Refresh that page. There we are, there's the page. So Moodle is displaying these statements from experiences that are happening completely outside the LMS as well. So that's statement sending in action. I hope you found that helpful. We're also going to be producing a white paper related to this very, very soon and running a webinar later in the year to give you a lot more information about what we did and the lessons learned. Thanks for watching.